Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the Ringside Rundown podcast. My name is Erik Vasquez, and joining me on the line is my podcasting partner in crime. Yes, that rhymes, coming straight from the Berg. She is none other than Shay Hickson. Shay, what's going on, my friend? How was your week?
Yeah, not too bad. Can't really complain. Just decent weather and yeah, I mean, not a lot going on sports wise, aside
No,
from all that crazy NFL free agency stuff. I don't know if anything happened to you or not with the Giants.
no, I didn't see anything on my end. Nothing crazy so far.
No, I mean, you're lucky, I guess. It could be a lot worse. It could be what the Ravens are going through with Max Crosby right now. Apparently, I just saw before we even got on here that he failed his physical,
Oh,
so he
wow.
didn't even get traded. So completely voided that trade to Baltimore, which is good. For as a Steelers fan, we're happy. We don't want to deal with him. So not sure what that's about, but
Wow.
that, yeah, that's my sports breaking news, I guess. I guess I completely voided the deal. Like Baltimore gets their first round picks back, and he gets to stay a Raider until someone thinks it's worth the risk for trading for him. I guess so.
Wow. I wonder what
There's
part of the
that.
physical he failed.
I don't even know what they just said that he did an extensive physical with Baltimore's medical staff, and they deemed that he couldn't pass it. I guess so. I don't know what the
Wow.
heck's up with that, but
Wow. Well, ladies and gentlemen, contrary to what you're hearing, this isn't an NFL podcast. We are actually a pro wrestling podcast where Shay and I discuss the happenings of everything that's happening in WWE, AEW, and everything other like. And today we have a very special episode because today we are dropping our predictions for AEW Revolution, which is happening this weekend on the 15th. It's supposed to be a good show. There are already 10 matches advertised on the Wikipedia page, so we're going to have our predictions. Usually we'll mix in some questions as well, but today we're not going to be doing the questions. We're going to be pushing the questions to next week for our recap episode. So for those of you who submitted questions, thank you very, very much. Don't worry, your questions will be answered on next week's episode. This week is all about the predictions for AEW Revolution.
yeah, we had a fight with technology to start this episode, so
Yeah.
we kind of got delayed a little bit, and so we're like, yeah, we'll just focus on the predictions. But you know how it goes, guys. Technology sucks sometimes, and we don't know what happened. And it's fixed now, though. We're here. We're
Yeah, we're
talking, so
here.
that's good. All right. So, do you want to get into it? I'll let you quarterback this one. I
Uh,
think I did it last time,
all
so
right.
I'll pass it over to you.
All right. Well, thank you very much. I'm gonna get through the I'm gonna try to do my best, you know,
You guys.
gonna try to do my best quarterbacking. Usually you're good at this, but I'll do my best to handle it. But before we get into it, just to let you guys know, there is a 21-man blackjack battle royal for the AEW National Championship, and the only person advertised for that right now is Ricochet. So obviously we don't know who's going to be in that. So obviously we can't give you a prediction. It's a 21-man blackjack battle royal again for the AEW National Championship. And also we heard that Big Boom AJ, the guy, one of the Costco guys that's very popular on social media, has a match, but that is to be determined who against. So we're not going to be giving our predictions for that match, just to let you guys know ahead of time. So that way that when that match happens, you're like, what the hell happened? I didn't hear any predictions for that match. Well, that's because we didn't have any for you. But we do have predictions for the other matches. Like I said, there are 8 matches besides those 2, so we should have a pretty good time doing these predictions.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, let's just get into it. I think we got a good set of matches here, as
All
far as
right.
I can see.
So, for a singles match in the women's division where everyone is banned from ringside, we have Timeless Tony Storm taking on Marina Shafir. That's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to that. I'm becoming a big fan of Marina Shafir.
I am too. This is I think this is probably what WWE wanted her to be when well, I mean, when if they even signed her, because it feels like they never really did, because she didn't do anything. But this is what I think they've all wanted back when we were hoping to get the Four Horsewomen versus the Four Horsewomen match that never really came to be. So I'm glad that we are finally getting the full potential of Marina Shafir, and we all know how great Tony is, so there's no surprise there. But oh, this is a tough one because you could see really either of them winning. However, Um, I feel like, huh. Hmm. I feel like you got to give it to Marina because I feel like Tony can take the loss. It's not going to hurt her at all.
Right.
But I feel like if Marina wins, this is going to be like a big deal. Like,
Hmm.
oh shit, she can beat someone like Timeless Tony Storm. And then because everyone's banned for ringside, there's going to be no bullshit of, oh, well, I mean, it was because Wheeler showed up and his bald head, or oh, somebody else from the Death Rider showed up and something happened. It's like, no, this time it's just, she'll flat out just beat her clean. And I think this will be like the defining moment for Marina and AEW, I believe. So I think as much as we love Tony, we got to give this one to Marina. I do
Yeah,
anyway.
yeah, I'm agreeing with you where you said the loss wouldn't hurt Tony Storm. She still
No.
would be as popular as ever, and it'll be a big shocker if Marina Shafir can actually pull out the win. So I'm actually also gonna go for Marina Shafir just for the sake of I want to see a shocker, something to get people talking. You know, they're definitely gonna be talking if Marina Shafir can somehow defeat Timeless Tony Storm.
Yeah, it's going to be a big one. I wonder if this actually will start the show because I feel like that would be a really cool like shock factor moment to open up the show, but that remains to be seen. But either way, regardless of where it is on the card, it's going to be very surprising to a lot of people, but we are not two of them.
Yeah, I'm definitely putting my chips in for Marina Shafir, and so are you. So good luck to both women, but Marina Shafir specifically, so that way our predictions come true.
For our sake, yeah, because we need to redeem ourselves from last pay-per-view because God, that was terrible.
Yeah,
Elimination Chamber was not good.
it was not good at all. But moving on, we have a trios match for the AEW World Trios Championship where the Don Callis family, Okada, Kyle Fletcher, and Mark Davis will be taking on Mystico and Jet Speed, Jet Kevin Knight, and Speedball Mike Bailey. I totally must have missed the episode where Jet Speed and Hangman lost the AEW Trios Championships.
Yeah, I did too. I felt like I blinked and it was just.
I'm a
I'm like,
bad
oh wait, they
fan.
have them? I guess I don't know. We're just missing it apparently, but we're like, God damn, I didn't I mean, I guess I kind of would have maybe not expected it right away, but I guess it makes sense because it kind of builds into the whole Okada trying to like sever the ties between Fletcher and Takeshita, and that's still clearly going on. And it'll be interesting to see how that comes to fruition at Revolution and whatnot. But I mean, I feel like there's no point in Jet Speed and Mystico winning the titles back because technically, if it was Jet Speed and Hangman, then Mystico winning it with them is not going to really make it much better. I feel like I don't know. I don't think they need to play hot potato with those titles. I just feel like they're building into that thing of the Don Callis family needs to get all this gold, and they're already getting. I mean, they're bringing in half the roster, so you might as well just get half the titles while you're at it. So I feel like they're going to keep doing that, and I feel like it would be kind of silly just to have them immediately lose it as soon as they win it. So I'm going to say the Don Callis family holds on to them.
Nice. Yeah. Uh Jet Speed were the previous holders of the titles along with Hangman. Hangman's obviously busy up against MJF later on in the show. The Don Callis family just seems the more complete team. You know, they've
Yeah.
been together for quite a long time. Kyle Fletcher and Mark Davis are an experienced tag team in their own right as Aussie Open. So they're just adding, you know, somebody big time when they add Okada to that. And that's going to be hard for Jet Speed and Mystico to overcome. So I'm going to go with the Don Callis family picking up the win and maintaining the AEW Trios Championships.
All right, 2 for 2.
2 for 2. Okay, moving on. We have a 2 out of 3 falls match for the AEW Women's World Championship. We have Tekla defending the title against Chris Statlander, the former champion. Again, this is 2 out of 3 falls. This is going to be very interesting.
Oh yeah, and this is so funny, and I wish we would have had a question about this earlier, but I feel like remember a couple of weeks ago when Thunder Rosa was challenging Tekla for the title, and she was all like gung ho about it and whatever. And Stat was being like really weird about it in that one promo. And she's like, "You just like be careful," but was really stressing to be careful.
Right.
And she wouldn't really elaborate to Renee why she was acting that way. I wonder if it was because she didn't want Thunder Rosa to make the same mistake she did. Because if we all remember, Stat was the one that wanted the strap match. She asked for it. She got what she wanted. And what happened? It
Mm.
cost her the title. So I'm wondering if that was kind of Stat's endearingly awkward way of being like, hey, just be careful what you wish for because I did the same thing and I paid for it. So, I mean, clearly this is going to be her redemption in some way, but I feel like, and it just sucks because I love Stat so much, but I feel like somebody like Tekla can't lose that title anytime soon. Like she just can't. She's just got the charisma and the ability and the look and everything. And I feel like the worst case they could do, or the worst thing they could do, is put it right back on Stat. As much as I love her, I just feel like you have to keep this on Tekla for a while. And I know we said, well, we need to keep it on Stat for a while, but you also kind of had somebody as Tekla where even if she did win the title as she did, it was like, okay, well, I mean, it sucked that Stat didn't get that long reign that we wanted, but if she was going to lose to anybody, Tekla was the best option. So I just don't see a realistic or like not confusing scenario where Tekla doesn't win this match, but boys, this one's going to be fun. I feel like their title match, the strap match, and the other matches they've had were already fantastic. So I feel like I expect the 2 out of 3 falls match to be just the same. So I'm very excited for this one. It's going to hurt me in so many ways because I like them both, but I feel like Tekla's got to hold on to that belt. She just can't lose it yet.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's very simple. I don't see them taking the belt off of Tekla after her first title defense
No.
against Chris Statlander. It just wouldn't make any sense. It's 2 out of 3 falls, so they're gonna get plenty of time, and I think that's good for them. They're gonna put on a great match, both very technical expertise on both sides there, and Statlander has the power advantage. But yeah, Tekla is just too good at this point, and it wouldn't make sense to give her the title and then to take the title off of her right off the bat after her first defense. I just don't see that happening. I don't see them playing hot potato with the AEW Women's Championship. But 2 out of 3 falls against Chris Statlander. That's going to be a lot of fun.
Oh, it might be one of the sneaky, like, match of the night contenders, I think. That might be one of my extra predictions. Maybe not the tiebreaker, but I think that just might be like a little sneaky vindication prediction of I think this is probably going to be one of the better matches of the night. I'd be shocked if it wasn't.
For sure, for sure. Next up, we have a singles match between Brody King and Swerve Strickland, both men trying to vie for the moniker of most dangerous man in AEW. Swerve Strickland's been carrying that moniker for quite some time now, and now Brody King wants to show him that he is actually the most dangerous man in AEW. This is going to have, I believe, world title implications, so it's very hard to choose who can be the one to step up. What about you? What do you think?
It's gonna hurt my soul because I love Brody and I love Swerve, so this is gonna be very challenging for me to watch. But the clash of styles I think is gonna be very interesting here because Swerve's more technical, more methodical, a little bit striking, and Brody's just pure power and strength and brute force. So it'll be interesting to see these two like mesh together and how well they can mesh together. Yeah, I feel like this is almost like a title contention match without saying it is. It's pretty obvious because Brody's obviously been the most recent one to be in the title picture with MJF. But I mean, I wonder if this is almost like maybe a precursor to whoever wins this match pretty much tells you who wins the main event. Because, yeah, if Brody wins, it would probably make more sense to have him go against MJF again. However, I don't know if they would actually do that, but if Swerve wins, I think it would be a pretty good indication that Hangman might win the match, because then that would set up another rematch between those two again. But I feel like, hmm, I mean, beating someone like Brody is a big deal, regardless of who it is or whatever, just because of his sheer size and his strength and how good he's gotten lately, and he's definitely becoming a fan favorite. But I think this new version of Swerve is not one you want to mess with. Not that you would mess with him any other time, but I feel like this is just like his heel run when he was like feuding with Hangman, except perhaps even more dangerous, which I don't know how much more dangerous he can be, but he just doesn't care anymore. And he flat out said it himself. He's like, I like the reins, like the handcuffs are off. Like this is gonna be Swerve at his most dangerous because he has nothing to lose, which is a very scary sentence to say. So I feel like this one's gonna be fun. This is gonna be painful in many ways, but I feel like Swerve's gonna manage to sneak this one out.
Yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth. I was it's very hard to figure this one out right off the bat because Brody King is on a stretch where he's not necessarily winning matches but having good performances in those matches, specifically like against MJF for the world title. That was a very good showing from Brody King despite him not getting the victory. Swerve Strickland is this brand new persona where he's definitely taken the idea that he is the most dangerous man in AEW and he's definitely run with it. Like you said, handcuffs are off. So it's kind of hard to choose who to pick, but I'm going to go with Swerve Strickland. I think they want to position him back into the main event and probably put the world title around him eventually. Maybe if
Yeah.
he goes up against Hangman again, I think. But see, here's the thing: Hangman, the stipulation for the Hangman MJF match looms very large because if Hangman Page loses, he will never be able to challenge for the AEW World Championship ever again. So again, the positioning in the main event scene, as far as who can go after the World Championship, that's going to be very telling with these matches coming up for sure.
Yeah, and I feel well, I mean, there might be another scenario I might think of. However, I'll save it from when we get to the main event. But either way, I still think Swerve's winning this one for sure.
Yeah, I'm going with Swerve Strickland on to win this one and continue his ascent to the main event scene and get back what he rightfully deserves, that AEW World Championship. Next up, very interesting, we have Andrade El Idolo versus Bandito, but this is just a regular singles match. It's not listed for the ROH World Championship. This is just a regular singles match, which leads me to believe Andrade El Idolo will end up getting the win over Bandito.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that one, shockingly, because we never agree on anything around here. But yeah, I think this one on paper, some people might not really think too much of, and would even go so far as to try and say that, oh, this one would be like a good Dynamite main event. Oh, this one would be a good Collision main event. But no, this one I feel like is another really sneaky one that I think they're going to kind of blow the roof off the place with this match because they're both just so good and solid, and I could see the chemistry definitely being there. So I feel like this is going to be another one that I would definitely pay attention to for sure. Yeah, I feel like especially since the title's not on the line, Bandito winning would probably help him out a little more, except I feel like if we're trying to go for clearly Don Callis family domination at Revolution, I feel like you have to have El Idolo win, but I still feel like that's not necessarily a bad thing. I feel like they can kind of play into the whole Brodito not really having the best luck lately because he loses this one, Brody loses this match against Swerve, Brody's been losing a little bit lately, so I feel like kind of playing to that a little bit, but yeah, I just got to give that one to Andrade because why not? I mean, I feel like you kind of have to.
Yeah, and I think the fact that it's not for the ROH World Championship, it's just a regular singles match, despite Bandito being the champion, serves as a reason that they want him to lose, but not necessarily drop the title to Andrade
Yeah.
El Idolo.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Yeah. Well, we're flying through these predictions. I gotta slow it down. But this one
Yeah.
next up is pretty interesting. This one is a no time limit match for the AEW Continental Championship, where John Moxley will be taking on Konosuke Takeshita, the Alpha. But again, this is no time limit. This is gonna be very good. I'm not necessarily a huge John Moxley fan. I think that's known if you listen to this podcast. But I will
Yeah.
say his recent stretch of matches ever since winning the Continental Classic has been very good, very interesting.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's definitely given us a reason to care again because we've definitely been very critical of his matches. And not to say that his matches were bad, it was always just kind of the same formula over and over and over again. So it's nice to have a little spice put back into his matches because they were kind of getting boring after a while. But and I feel like him and Takeshita have really good chemistry, as we have clearly seen these last handful of matches. So the fact that we're getting this again really isn't a surprise. But I feel like they can really go one of two ways with this match, depending on who wins. You could have Moxley retain the title, which then plays more into the building the tension up with Okada and Takeshita being like, oh, see, Fletcher, your friend's a loser. See, we got all the gold and he can't even win the Continental title. Like, how good is he really? Because clearly that's what we're trying to do here. But they could also have a scenario where Takeshita wins the title, Don Callis and the family tries to, like take the glory and be like, "Oh, look, guys, we as a family did such a good job," and Takeshi could be like, "Yeah, no, screw you. I didn't need your help. I don't want your help. You guys are doing jack shit for me right now." And Okada's just being an asshole. So this could start to finally get to the point of Takeshi leaving the Don Callis family. So it's really just a matter of which way they're gonna go. Now, normally I would say tough because normally I would say, oh, well, maybe if you keep the belt on Moxley, then Okada can continue the whole, oh, see, well, he's just a loser. He couldn't get it done. We got it done. He couldn't. But I feel like Takeshi's just come close so many times that I feel like this has to be the time, I would think. And I feel like it would be pretty, I feel like it would be pretty, I don't want to say, what am I trying to say here? I feel like going that route would be pretty predictable and possibly one note, possibly. But I feel like if you have to catch to win the title and then add the layer of Callis trying to take the glory and Okada trying to do whatever and Takeshita being like, yeah, screw you, I was the one that won this title, I feel like that adds a little more depth and a little more layers to the drama within the family, aside from just, oh, well, Moxley won, so Okada's just a or Takeshi's just a loser because Okada said so. I feel like that's rather predictable, so I would like to see them go down the route of Takeshita winning, everyone else trying to take credit for it, and him being like, no, this was all me. I think that would be a little bit more compelling for the Callis family. I think that's just me. I don't know how you feel, but I think they're finally going to do it. They're finally going to have Takeshita win the title, and then we're going to just start further into the descent of whatever Don Callis family drama of the month there's going to be afterwards.
Yeah. This one's tough.
Yeah, like I said, you can go either way, really.
Yeah. I see what you're saying with what they can do with Takeshita. But you really didn't give me much to see what they could do with Moxley if Moxley was able to retain.
Well, and I think that's the sad thing too, though, is that I feel like the story of this is more focused on Takeshita and the Don Callis family than Moxley, because I feel like they're not really hinting at the fact now of, oh, well, I guess John Moxley might get kicked out of the Death Riders now. However, that doesn't mean they can't just like swerve us out of nowhere and do something at Revolution. However, I feel like the focus of this match in particular, at least to the eye test, is more on Takeshita and the Don Callis family, but that might just be me. That might just be what I'm seeing into it, maybe.
Yeah, this is tough. This is tough. Um, I feel like going with John Moxley is a safe bet.
Yeah.
And I want to go. I like your points that you made with Takeshita, and they make me want to go with Takeshita. But I also just had this gut feeling that John Moxley is gonna pull this out for some reason.
Hey, I mean, he screwed me over the last few pay-per-views, so you know what? Maybe he'll do it again, but maybe he won't. I don't know.
And it could be that the Don Callis family backfires. You know, well,
Maybe.
no, they won't be at ringside because it's a Continental Championship match, and nobody's allowed
Yeah,
at ringside.
that is true. It's
Hmm.
very true. So, because again, then that could play into if Takeshita wins and Don Callison try and take control and take like credit for it, and he's like, "You guys did shit. You weren't there. You couldn't be there. I had to do this by myself, and I did." But
Huh.
no, it's tough though, because like I
It
said, it really could go
is.
either way. It's just a what do they want to, what story do they want to tell?
It is. It is. It is tough. Um. Screw it. I'll go.
I was gonna
Uh,
say, got to keep your title in mind too.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. I want to go for Takeshita because now everything seems to be pointing to Takeshita winning the match. The fact that there's no time limit, nobody's allowed at ringside. He's going to be doing it by himself. He kind of has Moxley's number. Screw it, I'm going with Takeshita. I'm going with Takeshita on
All
this one.
right. All right. So I swayed you. I swayed you over to the dark side.
Yeah, I'm gonna be mad if Moxley ends up winning this because like I said,
Now,
Moxley is a safe bet.
now you know how I felt when he won a couple pay-per-views ago and cost me my title. So you know what? Now we can both be disappointed together. But
All right. So Takeshita is being pegged by both of us to be the winner of his match in a no time limit match for the AEW Continental Championship against Jon Moxley. Moving on for the tag team titles, we have FTR, the champions, Cash Wheeler and Dax Harwood, taking on the Young Bucks, Matt and Nick Jackson. The FTR has Stokely in their corner. This is going to be a fun tag team match. These guys have great chemistry with each other. They always put on good matches. I think this is going to be no different. Picking who's going to win, though, is going to be a little bit difficult.
flip a coin at that point. Well, and I think the big thing with this one is that they said it themselves. Whoever wins this is going to settle like the argument of who owns the true, like how they worded, like tag team legacy in AEW, like who is the best tag team in AEW, blah blah blah, who has the best legacy, whatever. When you put it like that, I feel like well, I don't know. I feel like what actually didn't help FTR's chances was them pile driving the Young Bucks brother a couple
Mm,
weeks ago. I feel like they need to get some revenge for that. So I'm thinking, eh, like I said, it's tough because again, you could pretty much just pick either one of them, and you really couldn't go wrong. Um, hmm.
it's
God
definitely
damn
tough.
it, this is tough. Like shit. I feel like just for the maybe the revenge on the whole thing with the brother, and then I feel like if you look at like at least AEW, like the scope of AEW, who has the better like tag team legacy and who will cement that at this show, I feel like you got to give it to the Young Bucks, I think.
All right. Um,
Because I think also Stokely's interfered in so many matches that I feel like at some point it's gonna like backfire on him somehow, and what time to do it than now? So I feel like it's got to be that. It's got to be them. I think the Young Bucks have to win this one.
uh, it's tough.
I know. I feel like the very like the bottom half of the card was somewhat easy, but then like I think as we've gotten closer to the main event, it's like, oh shit, this is
Yeah.
something.
Um, the Young Bucks have kind of are interesting right now because they're kind of getting back to, or they're trying to get back to the Young Bucks of old, you know?
Yeah.
With everything that they're doing in the ring, now they're babyface characters. They're trying to get back to the Young Bucks of old where they were dominating everything, whereas FTR has already been dominating and they've already
Mhm.
solidified themselves as a dominating tag team.
Yeah.
Um,
Again, it's a flip. It's like Moxley and Takeshi flip a coin, and you really couldn't go wrong with either one. It's just it's all just splitting hairs at this point.
yeah, you really. It's really hard to pinpoint who has the upper hand in this rivalry. You
Yeah.
know, they're both pretty even. So I'm gonna go with the safe bet and say FTR retain.
Ooh, all right. See, and we thought it was gonna be Moxley and Takeshi that was gonna break the tie, but
No, it's gonna
nope.
be the tag match.
All
I
right, all
think
right.
FTR is gonna retain. Make sure you're writing this down, ladies and gentlemen, so there's
Keep
no
score.
collusion, there's no
No, I don't need another one of
confusion.
those.
Make sure you're
No
writing it
cheating,
down. I got
no lying.
FTR.
All right, I got Young Bucks.
All right, all right. And finally, I told you we're breezing through this for some strange reason. But finally, we get to the main event and we have MJF defending the AEW World Championship against the previous champion, Hangman Adam Page. And this one is going to be a last chance Texas death match. If Adam Page loses, he will never be able to challenge for the AEW World Championship ever again. That's a big stipulation.
Yeah, like this is another tough one because I feel like could they go either way with it? Perhaps. Yes, they could. But I feel like the big thing that's I mean, clearly the big thing that's looming over this entire match is the whole stipulation of if Hangman lose, that he Cody Rhodes himself. Essentially, that's what I think the running joke is. Just say Cody Rhodes himself. And the thing is that you would like to think that Tony Khan would not be silly enough to do that to himself a second time because they tried it with Cody, didn't work out so well. It backfired on them royally. So I feel like surely they can't think, oh well, because it's Hangman this time it's different. Like they cannot think that. Like there's no way that they're going to do this to themselves twice because you know the people don't. Well, clearly they didn't forget. They didn't forget that this isn't the first time they tried this shit. So if this happens and it backfires again, they are going to get ridiculed within an inch of their life for this. Like there's when I feel like Hangman also has more, I mean, obviously more experience with the Texas death matches, so he knows what it takes. And MJF's no slouch either. He's been in his fair share of like, I don't know, I guess you say hardcore death matches, whatever. But it's like, does he have not the, I don't even want to say killer instinct, but it's just like, is he willing to go, which I feel like we know the answer, yes, he'd be willing to go to places he would need to in the Texas death match to keep his title, but Hangman doesn't give a fuck. Like he's been there, done that. I mean, literally been hung by a chain. So this is like none of this is new to him. But I just feel like, ah, fuck.
Mhm.
Just when you think it can't get any tougher, they just keep it just keeps going.
Yeah.
It's just well, and I think it also kind of, and what I, well, and actually, I just remember what I alluded to earlier with the whole Brody and Swerve match is that they can go one of two ways if Swerve wins, because I feel like it's a pretty safe bet that Swerve's going to win. So let's just say, for the sake of it, he wins.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, again, I feel like that's just probably the safe bet to go with, because I just don't see the way it's going right now, Brody beating him. So say Swerve beats him or beats Brody, we get to the main event. They can do one of two things, and one is very, very, very ballsy to do. And I feel like you kind of know where I'm going with this. So you could go the way that I think they might go, which is have Hangman win the match because we know how the stipulation is stupid and whatnot, and it's just silly. Or if they had maybe some balls and knew how to properly learn from their mistakes in the past, what if Swerve cost Hangman the match?
Mm.
And perhaps I don't know how they would justify that one. I'm not entirely sure. Maybe it's just he doesn't think Hangman deserves it. Maybe he thinks he has a better chance of beating MJF, but I feel like that's not really the kind of character they're making Swerve out to be. So I don't think that they would go in the way of, I just wanted to make sure he wouldn't win the title because I can't beat him, because we've seen he can. So I feel like, do they really want to go there? But I feel like, yes, that would be another like shocking end to the show, and I feel like that would be another big thing that's got everybody talking, and I feel like I would give them props for taking a risk on it. However, that would work until whatever they're gonna try to tell with Swerve and Hangman ends, because Swerve can go on and do whatever the hell he wants at that point. What's Hangman Page gonna do if he loses his match?
Yeah.
It just it just doesn't make sense to me. So again, I would appreciate the ballsiness on them doing it. I just don't think it's necessarily the best idea right now. So I think that hopefully they learn from their past mistakes and they have Hangman win and most likely restart the feud with Swerve, because I just feel like on paper it sounds risky and oh my god, the stakes are high and oh yeah, it might build some tension in the match, but I just think if you actually look real close at it, why would you let one of your biggest stars not be able to challenge for the biggest title in your company anymore? Like, it just wouldn't make a lot of sense to me. So I feel like we gotta give it to Hangman. I think we gotta give it to Hangman. I think he's gonna pull through. I mean, it's gonna be a bloody match. I mean, I feel like you already know what's gonna happen. We're gonna get, God, probably thumbtacks. We're gonna get chains. We're gonna get barbed wire. We're gonna get stuff, and I don't know. Hopefully, they do. The only caveat I have for it is I hope that they get a little more creative with it, because I feel like the fact that they've done so many, whatever you want to call it, death match, Texas death match, hardcore matches, like no holds, they have the same coat of paint or like different coats of paint for every type of match, even though it's at its best
Mm,
the same exact thing. So I hope they kind of do something to differentiate it, because it's kind of getting a little samey.
right.
Because again, when I can tell you, when I can rattle off maybe 4 or 5 weapons we're going to guarantee to see because it's a death match, it's like, okay, that's cool the first few times, but now it's just like, okay, well, what else is new? So I hope at least that's the case. However, I still feel like the match is going to be definitely entertaining. It's going to be bloody. We're going to probably cringe at quite a few things. However, I just feel like at the end of the day, they just cannot, again, they cannot have Hangman fall into the same trap as Cody Rhodes. They cannot do this to themselves again. So I'm going to go with Hangman. He's going to get that belt back. And then possibly we're going to get Swerve and Hangman again. And I cannot wait for that, because if we thought the feud before was bad and personal, oh boy.
Um, I hate the stipulation, the
I do too. It's
the
stupid.
last chance stipulation, because I feel like it handicaps you creatively. You
Hmm.
know, like you said earlier, Hangman's a big time player. He's a big time player for AEW. So why would you put yourself in a position where you can't use him as champion? You know,
Exactly.
what is he supposed to do? Flounder for the rest of his career, just going after all the other titles?
Yeah.
You
Because
know,
again, look what happened with Cody. It did not work. It backfired on them royally. So the fact that they were even silly enough to do this again, you would just like to think that they're not going to fall for that trap again. Like, they can't. You
right?
wouldn't, okay, let's put it this way. You wouldn't think that they would fall for this trap again. And if they do, oh boy, is the reaction episode going to be something else. We're going to be screaming. We're going to be screaming if they actually are dumb enough to pull this off again.
But here's the thing: if you were to do it, Hangman getting losing the match because of Swerve Strickland makes a lot of sense. You know,
It it does, but I think the problem is like it makes sense for that story, but inevitably that story is going to end. They're going to move on to something else. Like I said, Swerve's going to be able to go actually probably challenge for the title and perhaps like continuously rub it in Hangman's face that you're not able to do it anymore. But like you said, why handicap one of your biggest stars? Like, it just doesn't make it makes sense in short term, but I think that's just AEW's biggest problem is, and that's what makes me a little worried, is that they're very good at noticing are focusing in on like the short term effects of stories, but then once it gets to like the long term, you start to really take the rose colored glasses off and realize, oh, that actually really wasn't a good idea because you just set yourself up for failure for the next however long. So I feel like short term, yes, it can be great. It would be a big wow factor moment. It'll get people talking, whatever. But then when you look back on it months later, you'll be like, oh, this really actually wasn't a great idea long term, but I don't know. I just feel like they can't do this to themselves again. They can't. They
Yeah.
shouldn't.
Like, my head is telling me to vote Hangman because, like, again, you can't handicap him and not have him ever be a champion again. Then what's the point? But that that storyline with Swerve in the back of my mind is what's swaying my heart to vote for
I know.
MJF because Swerve is going to interrupt the match somehow and cost Hangman the match. But
Which it just sucks because it's like I hate that I brought that up, but it makes sense. But I feel like again, it's just like what good is that going to do in the future though? Because you can't take it back unless you make some dumb match where it's like if you beat whoever, then you can vie for the title again, which that's kind of a cop out. I feel like it's like, then
yeah,
why'd you even do it in the first place? Which I feel like that's just silly, and I don't think they should do that. But I don't know. It's tough because that's a very plausible explanation or very plausible idea that they could actually do. I just feel like in the next few months that could work. But then I feel like once we get longer and longer down the line, and now we're into like the summer, now we're into the fall, now we're into the winter, now it's almost next year, and it's like, okay, well, Hangman still can't vie for the titles. I feel like I just I
yeah,
hate that they even did this. The fact that we even have to talk about this is just driving me insane because I hate that they were trying to fall for this trap a second time. Like, I just don't understand why they thought this was a good idea.
yeah. If the stipulation wasn't there, then it'd be clear cut. MJF is going to win and retain. But now that the stipulation is there, it kind of throws a wrench into everything.
Yeah.
I am going to go with Hangman winning the title and hope that AEW doesn't screw me.
Yeah, I'm gonna say the same. I'm like, they cannot do this to us again. You just have to give it to Hangman because you guys need to stop shooting yourselves in the foot because it's driving me nuts.
Yeah, I hate the stipulation.
I do too, man. It's just again, like this is only the second time in how many years has this happened?
Yeah, it's just
Been the when did they do this? Was it 2020 or 2019? I think it was 2019, I think. It was like very early on in AEW, so the fact that they haven't even touched that in 6 or 7 years pretty much tells you that it shouldn't be happening, and yet here we are in 2026 talking about it, so I don't know. I just feel like you gotta give it to Hangman then, just so we don't have to yell about this next week, because I really don't feel like having to spend an hour yelling about this next week, so
gonna be
for our
very
sake,
interesting.
AEW, don't be dumb.
Yeah, gonna be very interesting to see what's gonna happen because I mean, even though we're predicting it this way, there's still a good chance he might end up losing.
Yeah, I really hope that's not the case, because God almighty, I can't take it. Don't make us mad, Tony. Please don't do this. Just do the right thing, dude.
Not even. It's just the
Not the right thing.
stipulation.
Do the smart thing. Do the smart thing.
It's just the stipulation that throws a wrench into everything.
Yeah.
It could either make things easily predictable and say, yeah, Hangman's gonna win because there's no way they're gonna take away his opportunity to ever win the world championship. So it makes it easily predictable, or you shoot yourself in the foot creatively.
Yeah. And unfortunately, AEW is a company notorious for shooting themselves in the foot creatively all the time.
Nah.
So I really hope this is the one time they forget to actually do that.
Yeah, well, I hope so. I hope so. For the sake of our predictions, I hope that they can do this the right way and not really screw up anything that's happening for their world championship title picture.
Please, just for us.
All
Just
right.
for nobody else but us.
All right, so really quickly, just to go over everything, we both have Marina Shafir defeating Timeless Tony Storm. We both have the Don Callis family retaining the Trios Championship over Jet Speed and Mystico. We have Tekla retaining the AEW Women's Championship against Chris Statlander in a 2 out of 3 falls match. Swerve Strickland is going to beat Brody King. Andrade El Idolo is going to beat Bandito. I and both of us were going back and forth. I originally was gonna pick Jon Moxley, but you convinced me to pick Konosuke Takeshita in their no time limit match for the AEW Continental Championship. I picked FTR to win and retain the tag team championships, while you have the Young Bucks retaining the tag team championships, and we both say Hangman Adam Page is going to win the AEW World Championship. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Those are our predictions for AEW Revolution. Hopefully you are going to be watching the show, and it's going to be a good one. I definitely predict that this one is going to be worth the money.
Yeah, I think this is actually the first AEW pay-per-view in quite a while we've talked about where we didn't actually openly say this match shouldn't be on the card. It should be on the like Dynamite or Collision, unless the Big Boom AJ match is on the actual card, and then that absolutely doesn't deserve to be anywhere except the pre-shows. So that hopefully is not the exception to it. But yeah, if this is the first time we've actually never had to say that, I'm impressed. So I'm excited to see how this shakes out.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. Well, that is our predictions for AEW Revolution. That brings us to the end of the show. Like I said, we went through this rapid fire, but again, we started the show with before we started, we had some technical difficulty that took like 20 minutes to fix. That luckily we got it all fixed up and running, so we were able to get an episode out to you guys. So thank you very, very much for listening. If you took the time out to listen, thank you very much. And just to let you know, you can find this podcast all across the board on the internet, wherever podcasts are being played. So if you go on Spotify and listen to the podcast there, you can go on Apple, you can go on iHeartRadio, you can go on Amazon Music, you can go on Audible, you can go on Good Pods. Basically, wherever you listen to podcasts, you can find the Ringside Rundown. All you have to do is just search Ringside Rundown, hit the follow or subscribe button, and you'll never miss an episode. We drop an episode every Wednesday morning for you. And then also, just let you guys know, we do live streaming. We do live streaming every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. Twitch.tv/Ringside Rundown at 8 o'clock on Twitch and YouTube. Twitch.tv/Ringside Rundown, YouTube.com/@RingsideRunPod. And on the YouTube channel, you can also find full episodes of the podcast if you don't have a podcast app to listen to podcasts. If you do have a podcast app to listen to podcasts, but you can't find the Ringside Rundown, let us know by hitting us up on social media. Hit us up in the DMs and let us know what platform you use, and we'll get an episode to you on a silver platter. But make sure you give us back the silver platter, because it belongs to Shay's mom, and she's the one that came up with the Texas death match. So I wouldn't mess with her. She's very sick and demented in that way, that she likes those type of things.
Yeah, and she's already going to be mad that Brody and Swerve have to wrestle on this pay-per-view, so please, and she's also mad that she's not going to be able to watch it, so please don't mess with her. She's already going to be very sensitive.
There you go. Don't play with her. Give her silver platter back, and make sure you get the episode on your platform of choice. Now, Shay, where can they get in touch with you if they want to talk to you?
You can find me on my wrestling Twitter at ShayRingside_. I was hoping I'd be able to say that because I don't know if any of the other listeners of ours had that fun little Twitter glitch for the whole day a couple days ago, which that was very interesting, where you couldn't quote tweet or reply to anything, and you couldn't send out tweets, and if you tried logging in after logging back out, it wouldn't let you. So hopefully you guys didn't get affected by that as well. But we're back on track, so check me out again at ShayRingside_. Like we always say, just like Erik's name, I just copied the homework a little bit.
There you go. So our next episode, we're going to be giving you a recap of AEW Revolution with match ratings for each match and what we thought of the show. Also taking your questions that we missed this week. Again, we had to skip the questions because we had some technical difficulties, but we were able to get an episode out to you anyway. So thank you guys very much for listening. For Shay Hickson, my name is Erik Vasquez, and we'll catch you on the next one, guys. Take care.
See you later, guys.